Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. Here with your boy Torres Finney and my co-host Tyler Layfield. What's up, Tyler?
Nothing much. Glad to be back. It's been a minute. Both been pretty busy. Both been to Florida. Both been doing all sorts of different stuff this summer. I myself, I haven't told Torres this yet before our pre podcast meeting. I guess we have, but I've been to 3 soccer games here recently. The FIFA Club World Cup. So I've been to some of those games.
Ooh.
We've been having a blast with that. We got my wife and I went with some friends. Shout out to Caleb Cameron. We went to with some friends to go see Messi play against FC Porto. So I
Oh,
got
that's
to
pretty
see,
cool.
yeah, got to see Messi play, Luis Suarez, Falcone, Busquets. Like we got to see a bunch of different players play. Then Tuesday went with some buddies to go watch Dortmund versus Monterey. That was a blast. Got to see some big names in that as well. And the atmosphere was it was really cool. The first game, the Messi game, it wasn't as like, it was on Juneteenth to begin with, and then it was at 3 o'clock, so it was a day game, weekday game kind of thing. Not everybody's off that day, so the attendance was kind of low at the Benz, but still really cool to go see Messi. Messi scored from outside the box. The Tuesday game, it was a 9 o'clock game at night, and man, Monterey's fans, they showed out like a punch of, they're a Mexican club, so they had the drums out the whole time, trumpets playing, waving flags. It was cool. And then we actually went yesterday to the quarterfinals game. PSG going against Bayern Munich. So I got to see Harry Kane, Thomas Mueller, Manuel Neuer, Hakimi, Dembele. Like that was cool. So PSG ended up winning that 2-0. So man, just a really fun summer so far. And I've seen you've been having some fun as well, right?
Yeah, man. Look, a brother have definitely been getting it. Been traveling like crazy.
No
Still
kidding.
keeping the training going, but yes, man, it's been a whirlwind. It's been pretty wild to just be constantly going, constantly traveling. Heck, I'm doing it, traveling again tomorrow. So it's just a constant thing, but just getting accustomed to it. It's nothing for me to complain about, honestly, because I like traveling. So like. I'm here. I got my home, but it's like I like traveling. Like I like getting around. I like going and seeing new spots, seeing different things, meeting new people. So, connections is one of the best things to have on this planet. So it's one of those things that I really enjoy.
Yeah, man. Well, we got some things we got to cover that we haven't quite got around to. I think the last time we were on here, we were talking about the Mavericks getting the number one pick in the draft and things like that. Since then, we've seen the whole NBA playoffs go through. We got to see who ended up winning the NBA Finals, the draft. We've seen some trades. We've seen some free agency signings. So we got a lot to cover here NBA wise. Then we're gonna get into some UFC. We've also had some NFL trades, so we got a lot to cover here. But let's kick things off here first with the NBA and offseason. We were able to, watch this NBA postseason. Ultimately, the champion ended up being the Oklahoma City Thunder going against they defeated the Indiana Pacers. Took 7 games. I was kind of shocked that didn't think the Pacers would push them that far. I knew OKC, that was the team I would kind of, if I had to put one down, I'd put them down. They were just a very complete team this year. But man, the Indiana Pacers, they gained a lot of respect from me as well as a lot of other people throughout this postseason, playing just a gritty form of basketball. The way they just played, they played hard the whole time. I hate the way things ended for Tyrese Halliburton. The ruptured Achilles, that always sucks. He had such a great postseason. Now they're looking at Indiana's looking at being in a similar position as Boston now, both with their top stars out with an Achilles. So you're looking at probably punting, on this upcoming season in a way. I mean, I'm sure they'll probably do some things to still be somewhat competitive, but deep down they probably know their odds of them, actually making some waves, actually competing for a championship are probably pretty low. But Torres, what do you think about the postseason, how things played out?
It definitely caught me off guard a little bit. My initial prediction, as I made at the beginning of the season, I had Denver and Boston, and Denver was, showing me some good slight. I
They
thought
played good.
they played good. They should have beaten OKC that game
Yeah.
4 at home that they gave away at the end. Now Shea got hot late in the game, but it was just really bad about how they was going about it late in the game. Making a lot of different mistakes, turning the ball over, which they still was able to get it to 7. But I feel like they take that game 4. We're looking at a whole different series, and then I feel like that's happened back to back years. They had a 20-something point lead on the Minnesota at home in Game 7 and lost, and that huge Game 4 and now against the Thunder. So as we know, especially in the playoffs, a game here and a game there can be the factor and the reason why you win a series or lose one. And we've seen that back years for Denver. But OKC, look, man, they're one of those teams. I see a lot of people giving them a lot of different comparisons. I keep seeing the comparisons towards Golden State early in their years, getting ready for their little run, how they did it. I can see a lot of good things out of OKC, but I'm going to need more. We've seen a lot of parity over the past few years. Mm-hmm. We've seen a different champion every year since, 2020? So, 2019. So, I need to see more. We need to see more. And right now, I got them as being one of the best. Shea had an incredible year. Shea was MVP, scoring champion, Finals MVP, Western Conference MVP, won the championship, done something that nobody ain't done since Shaq, all in the same season. So that was incredible to see from a guy like Shea. But winning championships are hard, man. And to talk about, this is going to be the new dynasty is already hard to win one. To say you're going to win another one, repeat, that's just as hard. Yeah. I thought Boston had a great chance of doing it. In Boston, you're going to have injuries, you have things. But OKC look like a great team, man. I mean, from start to finish, from the top to the bottom, they have guys on the bench. They got guys that can score from all over. They can play really good defense. They play fast. They're all really young. Really good job by the GM on this team. We've talked about this team for a lot of years. They finally was able to get over the hump. Really good job by the GM. This was literally created through the draft, through trades. This was literally created, as we're currently about to go to, through the offseason. So this championship is definitely created through the offseason and through the free agency and obviously through the draft with this team. So I really enjoy a lot of things that OKC have done so far.
For sure, yeah. I mean, you look at Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Casey Wallace, I believe Aaron Wiggins, Kenrich Williams, Isaiah Joe, I don't think was drafted by them. All these guys that I just named out, though, and the other Jalen Williams, there's 2, all, drafted by OKC. Then they, made a series of some really good trades, including the SGA trade where they traded with the Clippers. The Clippers gave them SGA along with a bevy of picks for Paul George, one of the greatest hauls of all time, I feel like. Picked up Isaiah Hartenstein for a good deal in the offseason this last year, and also traded for Alex Caruso, which was really key to their title run. So you're right. He's just been kicking butt. As we'll get into here in a little bit, they have set themselves up for success. They do look like they are built for the future, like they are going to be able to continue to compete for the championships in future years. Mm-hmm. But they're not the only team that has improved. I mean, the way that they're going to improve for this year, they haven't made any big moves. They didn't really have to this offseason. They've pretty much just kept their core in place. And really what's going to help them out is just having that extra year under their belt. Now being a team that has made it through a playoffs and won a championship, having that experience, that is what's going to help them out for the years to come. They did spend a first-round pick on a center from Georgetown, Thomas Sorber. We'll see if maybe he can crack into some minutes. Don't know, him being a rookie and all. But, yeah, it was a great, postseason overall. A lot of parity. We saw some of the biggest names get knocked out, including, the Lakers getting beat by Minnesota, Denver getting beat out, for it could be this changing of the guard, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. Denver has done some really good things this offseason.
They did.
Golden State, they were in the mix, but then they got knocked out by the Timberwolves, right? Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. The Celtics getting beat, former, the current champions, they were beat.
And don't let nobody fool you. Jason Tatum wasn't going to change anything.
I don't think so either. Yeah, the Knicks were just, and they were playing really good.
The Knicks were hot. Like
they really were.
I'll be honest. I thought, bro, and you know what? We made those picks. I did. I picked the Knicks to beat Indiana. I thought it was going to be Indiana and
same here.
And the OKC. I'm sorry,
New York and
New York
OKC.
OKC. That was my pick because I really did not see much of
Oh, I slept on
Indiana.
Indiana.
And look, props to Indiana. I mean, this is one of the best historic playoff runs we've seen out of a team in a long time. Because,
Yeah,
dude, Halliburton. You want to talk about a team that's down 20? You're like, oh, well, this is where they get started, and they
yeah,
come back and hit a game-winning shot, and heck, that game one in the finals, the ball bouncing up and it goes in. I mean, craziness throughout the entire playoffs for
yeah,
Indiana. So if you're an Indiana fan, you was always on the edge of your seat.
yeah. So, we covered the finals. We kind of touched on some postseason stuff. Let's talk about some offseason moves. First off, we had the NBA draft. Now, of course, we all knew who was going to get picked.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, Cooper Flag going to Dallas. That was a easy de facto pick. Dylan Harper going to the Spurs. He's just awesome. You had some really other good picks throughout it. VJ Edgecombe from Baylor to the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big fan of just the Duke guys in general. I loved watching Duke during their March Madness tournament run. They should have won it. They did not. That's on them. But Conka Nipple, freaking love him. I think he's going to be a great. I'm not going to say he's going to be a superstar or anything like that, but I just think he's going to be a great NBA player. I think he's going to contribute to great teams. I think he's going to be able to fill in where need be to help his team win. Ace Bailey, the other guy from Rutgers, he fell to the Jazz. You had some guys throughout, and Torres, it was kind of crazy. We had some really smart teams. Do some. We had some teams do some really smart things in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
The Suns, they ended up making a trade. Okay, they traded Kevin Durant to the Rockets. They ended up getting the number 10 pick in this, and they ended up drafting one of my favorite guys overall, Kamen Malawach from Duke. I freaking love this guy. I think
I'm
this
in
guy's
wild.
going to be awesome. Yes, man. He is, man, he won me over in that tournament. Like I said, I'll gas up these, I'll glaze, as the kids say, these Duke players. But Malawach, for that Suns team, with as much big man stuff as they had throughout the season, like they struggled in that area. Nurkic was no good for them. They traded him away. I mean, they had Nick Richards. They ended up picking up Mark Williams, but Malawach, to go with that team, I think that was a key pick. And then Torres, the other thing, man, the
I'm
Atlanta
looking.
Hawks are
So yeah, I see
freaking
who they drafted.
home team, man. They finally did something smart. They made one of the best deals I've ever seen. We'll have to get Jackson, man. Jackson covers the Hawks on a daily basis. He was over the moon about this. Everybody immediately was cracking on the Pelicans. They had the number 13 pick in this year's draft. And the Pelicans came to them, offered to drop down to number 23. So they were like, we'll give you the 23 pick this year, and we'll give you an unprotected first-round pick next year. You get the better of the two between our pick, so the Pelicans pick, and the Bucks pick. Okay? The problem with that for the Pelicans, number one, they didn't make the playoffs this year. They
No,
were a lottery team this last year. And they got problems. Zion Williamson has not been reliable. DeJounte Murray getting hurt. I mean, you can go down the list. They made some plays. They traded for Jordan Poole, Torres.
I
They
know.
traded for Jordan Bonehead Poole. He's right up there with Kuzma for being a bonehead in my league. You know what I'm saying? Like they trade for this guy, and they give away some of their better players. I mean, they gave away C.J. McCollum in that deal to get him, but they're not a great team. And then on top of that, you look at the Milwaukee Bucks. They could lose Giannis at any point, and then all of a sudden, this team is a lottery team. They're not going to be making the playoffs. So right now, it looks like the Hawks have a good probability that they might actually get like a really, really good pick out of that. And this is a
Mhm.
pretty good year for drafting. You got the Boozer twins that are coming in. If you remember Carlos Boozer, his sons are going to be in this upcoming draft most likely. There's some really good players that are going to be in it. And man, it's awesome to say the Hawks actually did something right for once. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I see they drafted Drake Powell, obviously from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So this is well,
Well,
no,
they
that
ended up actually that pick. So
traded to the
the weird
Nets.
thing about it, yeah, that was yes. They ended up getting. Do you know who they ended up getting?
I do not. I'm looking at it
They
now.
got Asa Newell from Georgia, University of Georgia. So not only did they get the pick for next year, they got the guy that it was being rumored that they wanted at pick number 13,
Oh, I
at pick number
see it.
23. Yeah, the forward from Georgia. So he grew up in Atlanta. He ended up he transferred high schools to go up and play at Montverde,
Hmm.
with Cooper Flagg, with Derek Queen, with McNeely. Like he played with all these like studs in high school. Then he came back, goes to Georgia, gets drafted by the Hawks, gets to stay in the state. So I loved it. I thought it was a good pickup by them.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. A lot of people, some people analysis, they think he's good, comfortable in the offensive in the paint, talented finisher, good mid range, elite rebounder. He's working on his three. So okay, so it's something that the
Mm-hmm.
Hawks can get. I mean, the guy was averaging 15 at Georgia. I have to also remember it's like these guys come in so young. Like all these
Yeah.
guys are coming 18 and sometimes like just really young, right off the books, and coming out
Mm-hmm.
from college and playing early. Looking at it so far, I mean, it looks like the Hawks made a really good deal for themselves. I think they're
Yeah.
just building up over time. I think again, you got to find as many things you can build around Trey Young as you can get right now. You don't want to waste people primes. We come to see that with teams like at the time with Trailblazers when they had Damian Lillard. I think at a time you saw waste his prime. Now, yes, they had some
Yeah.
success. Don't get me wrong; they actually had some success, but you feel like there's our chance, there's our window. Another team I would say is like the Houston Rockets. Now, granted, they was in the era of the Golden State, but they had
Yeah.
opportunities. I mean, they took Golden State to 7 games, being up three
I
two.
used to love those teams. Yeah,
Oh, those
but
were great games.
Harden, Beverly. You
Oh
remember
my
who was the
God.
forward? Ariza. I really liked
Ariza, come
Ariza.
on, bro. Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
teams were elite. And
God, that was a
again,
fun one.
I feel like that was the peak of James
Mm-hmm.
Harden prime. Now, I don't want
Yep.
to say it was wasted because they had. I mean, look, they took Golden State to 7 games,
Seven.
and
Yeah, they pushed it.
six. They took them to 6 game the next year. People say, "Oh, Chris Paul got hurt. They would have won if he didn't get hurt in the 7 game series." Okay, the
I
next
remember
year
that.
Durant gets hurt, and they still don't beat him. So it's like you
Yeah.
can't waste these guys' prime if that's your window. If that's your
Yep.
window, you better take advantage of it. Like I remember when Shannon Sharp said it best. Why do guys always say, "Oh, they'll be back next year"? Who guarantees that? He said Dan Marino went his rookie season and never went back ever again when he went to the Super Bowl. Like you see all these, oh, he'll be back next year. No, that's
Yeah.
not guaranteed
Nothing's guaranteed.
because Russell Westbrook went to the finals in 2012 and he ain't even seen anything close to it. So I like you got to get around these guys. You got to build up around them right now. I think Trey Young is doing the best that they possibly can for him. I think the Hawks are doing the best they can for Trey Young. So
Yeah.
this actually is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the trade season kind of kicked off on June 15th. You had a
Mm-hmm.
big deal that went on for Desmond Bain from Memphis Grizzlies. Orlando traded for Desmond Bain. They gave away Kentavious Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, uh, 3 first round or 4 first round picks, and a pick swap. So they got a ton for Desmond Bain. I think he'll actually fit with Orlando pretty well. They need shooting. He can indeed shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Then you had the big KD trade. So
That was huge.
Phoenix traded Kevin Durant. In return, they got Jalen Green, who we all knew was going to be on the block. Like we
Mm-hmm.
all knew Jalen Green was eventually going to get traded. Dylan Brooks,
Yeah.
who depending on how you look at him, he can benefit your team. He can also hurt your team at times with the way he acts. Then they also got this year's first. And they got a bunch of second round picks. So 5 second round picks along with it. So not a huge haul for Kevin Durant, but enough to where they probably weren't going to get a better deal anywhere else. Everybody knew that Kevin Durant was going to be available for trade. So, of course, you're not going to get a ton in return. You also saw Boston, they're prepping for next season without Jason Tatum, so they traded away Drew Holiday to the Trailblazers for Anthony Simons and 2 future second round picks. They got off that contract. Here's the deal I was telling you about earlier. The Wizards, they traded for CJ McCollum, Kelly Olynyk, and a second round pick for Jordan Poole, Sadiq Bey, and a 2025 second round pick. And then you had another smart play by Atlanta here. So, at least I think it's smart. I want to hear your thoughts on this. So, Atlanta went in on a three-way deal, a three-team deal. They traded Georges Niang and Terrence Mann. They traded Georges Niang to Boston. Okay, so it's a three-way deal. Boston got Niang and a second round pick. Atlanta got Porzingis and a second round pick. And then the Nets got Terrence Mann, formerly at the Clipper,
Hmm.
and a first round pick, a 2025 first round pick. It's the number 22 pick in the draft. What do you think about the Hawks getting Porzingis?
That's actually pretty good. I mean, that's a
I
really
like it
good,
too.
solid big man that's going to be down there in the paint. Obviously, he can go outside and shoot. Porzingis dealt with some injuries going into the playoff this year for
Yeah.
Boston, but it's really cool to see that he was really productive. I mean, he had a really productive year last year, so I think this is a really good move for the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's one of those windows for the East where any team can like show up,
They
and
can.
I think the Hawks are making the right decisions to where they can be in the mix at least next year. Where all right now we're not looking at a team that are like okay they made the playoffs they'll get put out first round. We're looking at a team that can actually win a series or make a little bit of a
Mm-hmm.
run a little bit. So the Hawks are making the right decisions. I like that.
Yeah, the Hawks, you can make the argument they had the best offseason out of the whole East. Like they have really done a good job.
Mhm.
They have improved while others, have either stayed stagnant or haven't done much at all. We just had a trade the other day, and now we're going to start speaking about, we talked about the Houston Rockets, who, in my opinion, have had one of the best off seasons as well. The other team, in my opinion, so there's three in particular that I really think have had a great offseason. That's Atlanta, Houston, and the other one is Denver. The
Denver.
Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr., who some have
That
I
was
know our
that was
friend,
weird to me. I'm not going to
our
be honest. I was shocked
our
by that.
friend Kobe, he loves Michael Porter Jr. I'm all right with Michael Porter Jr. They traded Michael Porter Jr. and a 2032 first round pick for Cam Johnson. Now, what did you not like about that deal?
About Michael Porter.
Yeah. Did you like that deal, or did you just think it was weird, or did
I
you
mean,
what
I
did
thought
you
Michael
think?
Porter was a valuable asset. Now he had at times where he was cold. He was cold. Like he didn't always show up, but then there was times, he was sporadic. Michael Porter Jr. to me is one of those guys that you just keep around because he is at least reliable, especially defensively. You can just you can stay with him. But
Mm-hmm.
I was a little shocked because I don't want to say he's a part of the Denver's core, but he was a part of their main pieces. They win the championship. They've had a lot of success with them the last 2 years. But if you feel like you see a lot more things into a guy like Cam Johnson, this wouldn't surprise me. No, this and then they also brought in Tim Hardaway Jr. So and Valanciunas. So Denver actually, they made some really good additions. It's
Yeah,
not like they just let go of anybody. So they made some really good additions. So I'm not gonna say that was one of those things. Oh man, like that's gonna hurt them because they brought in a guy
mm-hmm.
that when Jokic can sit down, Valanciunas he can do a little something.
Yeah, and that's if he stays. I don't know if you've seen the rumors, but there's rumors out there that Valanciunas actually might dip off to go play in Europe. There's like a Greek team that is
Wow.
offering him a lot of money. Yeah. Now they said they're fine with the trade either way. They said if he ends up leaving, they're fine. If he ends up staying, they're fine. So they're cool with it either way. The thing with Michael Porter Jr. you got to keep in mind though is he's a liability on defense. Okay, that's something that Cam Johnson is better at, in my opinion. Now, Cam Johnson is 2 years older than him, but he makes significantly less money per year. He makes 17 million less per year than Michael Porter Jr. is. And Michael Porter Jr., he's also known. The reason he slipped in the draft so far is because of the injury, stuff, the medicals. It hasn't really been a huge issue since he's been in the league, but there's still that thing in the background of your head that's like, hey, at any point this guy could, something could happen. But right now he's making 38 million, for a guy that, can be good at times, but is he that good? Is he 38 million good? That's the question. And sometimes he just really wasn't 38 million good. You got Cam Johnson, and that opened up the space for you to go get other guys like Valanciunas if he stays. Bruce Brown coming back, that's huge in my opinion. He comes for a vet minimum. Tim Hardaway Jr., like you said, a sharpshooter that you can put in the corner. They're already better than last year in my opinion, and they took OKC to 7 games. That's why I think this team is scary, man. And they still got moves they can make, in my opinion. So
That's crazy.
we'll see what they do. Here's the thing: if Valanciunas leaves, with the way things work, if he leaves, they get what you call a taxpayer mid-level exception. And what that is it's a spot that's worth $14.1 million. There's still another guy left on free agency board named Al Horford that if he were offered that money, I'm pretty sure he would take. Al
Out.
Horford backing up Jokic, shoot, come on,
Too
man.
easy.
That's
Too easy.
yeah, man.
Too
And
easy.
then you could go double bigs if you want. Put Horford at the 4.
And Horford
That
can
would be a
still
good
move, man.
lineup.
Horford, look. Horford
Horford can
can
shoot it too
hella
now. He
good.
can shoot it too now.
He can. I mean,
So
LeBron been playing forever, but like it feels like ever since I've been alive, I've known the name Al Horford.
Horford, yep,
Like
yep.
that just been playing, boy.
Been playing a long time, but he's still contributing, man. So he's still out there. He hasn't made his decision yet. I think he's still seeing how things are going to shake out with that. Maybe with a couple other things. They said he's really considering retirement, and then Golden State is probably pushing the hardest for him right now. But I still haven't seen that he's been signed, unless something happens while we're here on the show. The Hawks also did some other stuff to us. They went and got Nickeil Alexander-Walker from Minnesota in a sign and trade. They absorbed him in for a second round pick. He was a great player. I mean, if you remember, there was one big game he had. Who'd they play? What they played? So they beat LA, then they beat Golden State, then they played was OKC, right? In the
Who?
semifinals,
Talking about the Warriors?
Timberwolves.
Yeah, Timberwolves. They beat. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, they beat.
Yeah, and then they played
the Lakers. Beat the Warriors. Play OKC.
Yes, and there was one game, one or two games. Alexander Walker, he went off. Like he really earned some money just in this postseason alone. Good defensive guy. I remember when he was coming out of the draft, he was good. He just kind of had some low lights to begin his career, and then he just kind of ventured his way onto the bench for Minnesota, and really he's improved his game over time. But them getting him now, then they also ended up getting Luke Kennard later on. Like they're doing really good. The Hawks have really done a good job overall this offseason. Let's look at some of the other signings. So NBA free agents. Let's see here. There's still some guys left on the board, but I don't know. Did you? Your Dallas Mavericks. They've made a pick. They've made a pickup or two. Have you seen where they picked up D'Angelo Russell? Do you like that a lot?
D'Angelo Russell. I did see that. I was a little disappointed we had didn't we let him just get away, but yeah. But no, I don't know, man. D'Angelo Russell. Look, I don't expect too much from the Mavs right now because you got to remember we're still very injured, fiddled. Kyrie currently right now is still he got to recover. I do know that Anthony Davis, he'll start the season, but Kyrie still got to recover from his ACL, and I know he signed a 3-year extension. Crazy that he signs a 3-year extension, recovering from his ACL, while Lillard gets thrown straight to the Wolves. So it's
yeah, we got to talk about that, man. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
That how much is it on the books that they're going to be having to pay him every year now?
Who, the Lillard?
Yeah, they wave and stretch. Let's see here. So what the Bucks did with Lillard, they did a wave and stretch where they ended up pretty much cutting Lillard. They waived him, and they're going to pay his salary over the next X amount of years. And
they're doing the Joe Johnson. Doing what the Hawks did with Joe Johnson.
Yeah, they're also doing like what the Lakers did with Luol Deng. It's funny. There's a day every year. I think it's on the July 1st. There's an old baseball player named Bobby Bonilla that the Mets used to have, and they did the same thing with him. And he gets paid like $1.3 million every July 1st until it's 2030 something.
2032.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I can't remember what it comes out to exactly, but basically they owe Lillard, I think it's like $22 million a year just to not be on the team every year until I can't remember what the date is. It's really crazy, honestly, what they ended up doing in that sense. But it opened up the door for them to get Miles Turner. So, I mean, if you're a big believer in Turner, maybe that's something that think would be a good idea, but it's just I don't know if he's that great to where I would do something like that. But let's see, I'm trying to see here, max of $23.2 million a year. I don't know. I'm seeing if I can find the exact numbers. I'm not seeing it at the moment, but that was wild. The Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers made a trade. The Bulls traded Lonzo Ball to Cleveland for Isaac Okoro. The Golden State Warriors still have not traded Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know. Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, look, Kaminga didn't do much, mainly because what's his name didn't play him. Coach Kerr didn't play him. So if I don't think he would want to just sit there and be on the bench the whole time.
Yeah, I
Obviously he
don't.
played little bit during the regular season, but like when there was oh go to say you need a big man, you need a big man. Well, we got a big man right
Yeah,
here, but he just sit on the bench. He's not being used. So
for real.
I don't know. That's a weird one.
Yeah. What'd you think about the Lakers picking up DeAndre Ayton?
That's big for them.
I think so as
Obviously,
well.
that was really good for them finally get a big guy. But I think there's a lot more pieces LA will have to look
For
for.
sure.
LA
For sure.
is LA needs some help.
They do.
They need
They
some
need
help.
they need more than what they've done so far. So they picked up DeAndre Ayton. He got bought out by the Blazers, and LA was able to pick him up as well as Jake LaRavia. Kind of like the guy, but really, the way that happened was Dorian Finney-Smith had to walk. They let Dorian Finney-Smith walk. He ended up going to the Houston Rockets. You hear the phrase "the rich get richer." The Rockets already have such a star-studded team, especially after adding Kevin Durant. They go
Jesus.
and get Dorian Finney-Smith, another wing defender that's solid, that shoots really well from three. They got Clint Capella for cheap. Why do you need Clint Capella when you already got Alperen Şengün and you got Steven Adams? Now you got three big men. It's just
Dude.
crazy. The
Cheat
Rockets look
codes.
really good. Yes,
Cheat
very
codes.
much cheat codes. They can play small. They can play big. They can do anything really. But they let Finney Smith walk, and that opened up that mid-level exception where they had 14 million. They split that 14 million between Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton. LaRavia's a pretty good that's who's going to be taking the place of Dorian Finney-Smith, and he's good. I like him. I just we're going to have to see how that one plays out. I'm still kind of skeptical of it.
Well,
Um,
so here's my thing because obviously a lot of people were talking about this a lot. It brought up a lot of discussion. What are your
mhm.
thoughts about LeBron James? He had opportunity to take a pay cut. He didn't,
He's
but he
never going
took.
to do that. I feel like.
Uh,
You don't really ever see that in NBA except a little bit. I think you saw it with KD when he went to Golden State. He took a little bit of a pay cut, if I remember correctly, right?
yes, he did. Yes.
But even
Yeah.
since then, he's demanded pretty much as he can get, just about.
But see, that's my thing with people. It's like, yeah, you got pay cuts here and there, but people don't understand. It's like that money, that type of stuff there. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
If this is gonna be his last hurrah, and he's gonna make a run at the title,
Don't know.
like, come on, man. What is 24 years, 23 years, however many years? Like,
Yeah.
it's a long time. Now, honestly, I don't ever see him ever win the title again. But when
Mm-hmm.
you have a team like Luka Doncic, you brought in Aiton, you got these guys, when you want to try to at least build a team up. Now, I'm not going to ever be a guy that counts guys' pockets. I'm not going to be in here saying, he
Pocket
got enough
watching.
money. I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
But I am going to say, I've seen guys take pay cuts and it benefits them. Guys
Tom
like
Brady. Well,
Tom
Brady
Brady.
did it. Brady used to do it, but then they would go and pick up, and it would end up working out. But I'm sure if he had it his way, he wouldn't have been picking Amendola. He wouldn't have been
No.
picking. He would have wanted more high flying guys. But Amendola worked out.
I tell this to people though. It's like you say that, but don't you have to also think about it in the terms of the franchise and the business aspect. I have these receivers. Not a single one is going to ever override me. Like they used to talk about it, like on some of the podcasts. These guys would come to New England, and Brady would be like, "Don't ever ask me to throw you the ball." He's like, "I'm gonna throw you the ball, like, and if you over here
When
making
you're open.
mistakes, I'm just not even gonna look at you." So
Hmm.
guys like not only one he really really respect, obviously with Moss, then finally came
Yeah,
in,
you gonna
but
chunk it. If Moss is
he's
on the
gonna
team,
throw
you
it the ball.
chunking it the
Come on,
ball.
man, he's
Yeah,
one of the greatest
yeah.
of
Come
all
on, man.
times, like if not
Yeah,
the greatest. So
you're
like
throwing
that's
the balls.
different, but that's one of those things where he didn't have to deal with that because guys were just so respectful of him. And I think the same thing
Hmm.
will happen with LeBron. Like you're the echelon of the echelon. You one of the greatest, if not the greatest.
It would be unprecedented. I really would. It would be something different if he were to do it. If he were to take, how big of a pay cut would you say he should probably take? If you were to
What is he
say,
taking right now? He's got
I
45
think he's
million.
54 million. I want to say, yeah, I want to say it's that.
This is crazy to me though. A guy of that age making that amount of money.
Well, it was a player option. So, he normally does those one and ones where he has 1 year and then he can opt in for another year. And he
Yeah,
opted
but
in.
it's not.
Normally he opts out and then renegotiates it. He didn't do that this time. So hang on, it's 52.6 million. Luka's making 45.9. And then from there you got Rui at 18, Austin Reeves at 13, Jared Vanderbilt at 11.5, Gabe Vincent 11.5, Maxi Kleba at 11, which that's got to change. They got to get him off the roster. They got to get that money off the books. Eight at 8.1, Laravia at 6, Don't Connect at 4. They're going to have to make some moves, obviously, but we'll see how it goes.
No, I'll say this: make your money, make your money, do your thing. But yeah, that's just it's one of those things in my opinion,
If
man.
he did take the pay cut, I wonder, who they would have been able to get. Hindsight wise, who they might would have been able to snag to come along.
If he was to take the pay cut,
yeah, if he was to take the pay cut, I mean, would you be able to get that big of difference makers? I don't know. But
yeah.
Other than that, you had other guys move. Kevon Looney, who's been in Golden State for ever since he's coming to the league. He's now gone to New Orleans. Another weird move by New Orleans. Karis LeVert's going to Detroit to take Malik Beasley's spot because now Malik Beasley is under investigation for gambling. Did you see that for throwing games?
I did see that.
Crazy stuff. Another guy, getting involved in that. Who knows if it's real? Innocent until proven guilty. So we'll see.
That's true.
Brook Lopez going to your Clippers. That's a pretty good pickup, I think. Him to be a backup center. You got some other guy, Luke Kennard. 3-point shooter going to the Hawks. I like that pickup as well. I think that's a really good one. Yeah, like I'm telling you, Hawks. Every time I read them out, I love what they did. One that kind of went under the radar that I really like, Yabusele, Gershon Yabusele, the French forward. He played on the French team. Was it last summer when? Yeah, it was during the Summer Olympics. You remember that French guy that dunked on LeBron? He was making all these rebounds and threes. He used to play for the Celtics, but then he went and played overseas. But he's just a muscular jack dude. I think he's just a great team player. Him going to the Knicks, like with all the physicality they already have, I like that addition. I think that's solid.
Did the Knicks get a new head coach just now?
Yeah, Mike Brown now.
Mike Brown.
Yeah. Schroeder goes to the Kings. There was talks that Russell Westbrook was going to go there as well. I don't know if that's official. I don't think that is official. Y'all did let Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah, they were talking about him going to the Kings. That was the rumors for a while. Let me look up. He might come back to the.
Feel bad for him. Now. Not gonna lie to you, feel bad.
Nobody wants you.
Yeah, feel bad for him.
Still, yeah, he's still a free agent right now. There was talks he'd go to the Kings, but Jackson Hayes is coming back to the Lakers. He's going to be a backup. Of course, you're not going to be starting. And that's pretty much the major moves right now. So that's the NBA offseason in a nutshell. I've voiced my opinions as far as who I think has won the offseason. Houston, Denver, Atlanta. Those are the three best ones in my opinion. Who's lost it? Pelicans, I think, just doing the stupid stuff like getting Jordan Poole, trading away some of your future, that kind of stuff, dumb. The Nets taking 5 point guards, or no, they took 4 point guards in the draft in the first. They had 5 first-round picks. They used all 5. They drafted 4 point guards, and then they drafted the big man from Michigan that I like him. I think he's pretty slick. Danny Wolf or somebody that he's kind of like a point forward. He was pretty much playing point guard for Michigan as like a 7-footer, and it was pretty cool. I think he's nice. Did you see where the Grizzlies drafted that the Chinese guy?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, out of nowhere at number 16, they draft the 7'2" Chinese big man, Hanson Yang. They called him. Somebody texted. It was funny. There was a tweet that went out. Somebody texted a Nuggets front office member, and they asked him about it. They said he's the Chinese Jokic. They said that, and you watch him, dude. It's funny. He's kind of smooth with it every now and then. Man, he's got a nice little drop step on the baseline. He'll be like, I don't know, from the top of the key, he can deliver some pretty nice bounce passes and all. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's not. It was kind of crazy that it happened when it happened at number 16, but who knows? Maybe he'll end up turning out for them at some point.
That's true.
the writing was on the wall when they have Robert Williams, when they have DeAndre Ayton, when they have who's the guy they got from the big man from UConn that the Blazers drafted years ago, Donovan Clingan. When they have all three of them, and then you draft another big man, the writing's on the wall. They're getting rid of somebody, and Ayton was
Yeah.
that somebody.
Yeah.
So let's transition. Anything else from NBA you got here?
No,
Okay,
no.
I'm gonna let you take it away here. UFC latest. Talk about Wellmaker, man. Look, we gotta talk
Oh
about
my
Wellmaker.
gosh, yeah, we gotta talk about Malcolm.
Your boy
Dude,
Wellmaker has been going
dude,
bonkers.
Malcolm is a absolute beast, man. It's so awesome to see his journey currently right now. Just doing his thing, and it's also awesome to see things that you saw from guys on the regional scenes to see them doing it on the big stage. It's like he's doing the same thing. Malcolm has it. He has the factor, the it factor. And the guy, I mean, he has the knockout power. I mean, for his size, I mean, he's one of the bigger bantamweights that there is at that the weight class. A lot of people are having all their dream matchups. Everybody want to see him against Payne Talbot. Everybody want to see him against Alexandria Topuria. Everybody want to see him against, Adrian Yanez. So there's a lot of great guys great matchups that he can have for himself. But I definitely see the UFC building him, and he is one of those guys that definitely will make an impact. I was there at the Atlanta card, the UFC Atlanta. Went there, and his walkout, brother, that was so fun. That was so energetic. But that's Malcolm, man. He walked out to Jesus. Let's Do It by Walker Flocka.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right,
bro. Man, that he had the place rock.
Classic.
Yeah, he walked out. Then for him to get that huge knockout, oh my gosh, that was epic. Malcolm is definitely hot right now.
He's smooth with it, bro. He's so smooth with it.
Yeah, he's smooth with it. And look, he's got it, man. He got the looks. He's a handsome brother. He got the style. He's got the knockout power. He's got the charisma. He can talk. Yeah. So yeah, he's one of those guys, man. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what he does next. I am.
Yeah. Well, I know here recently there was a big card with like what they're saying is the fight of the year so far. Tell me about that. I know you know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Josh Van and Brandon Royval.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
that fight of the year.
So far, yes. So far. Okay. Now, I expect to see more, but look, the brother took it on short notice. Brandon Royval, all he does is walk forward, throws a bunch of strikes, eventually overwhelms you, and eventually gets to finish. But him and Josh Van was just trading shots. If you want to be a UFC fan, you want to see somebody just go at it. Barely any kicks were thrown until like late into the fight. Just straight up. You got to remember they're flyweights, so they got cardio for years. They never get tired. Throwing a many strikes, just going at it, just throwing so many different combinations. They both landing, they both rocking each other, landing great strikes. So it's one of those type of fights. And the only thing is with flyweights, you see a lot of flyweights. Flyweights don't usually have the power. That's usually it's a lot of activity, but not a lot of finishing. So it's different. But a lot of people love to fight, man. So yeah, a lot of people think it was a fight of the year. It definitely is up there for a lot of people. Ilya Topuria, he had a great night. Ilya, I still say this now. I said it then. I said this years ago. When I seen him train, I instantly said, "Who is that guy?" That is different. That was before he even fought Bryce Mitchell. I instantly knew that was a different guy. That was a different person. And it doesn't surprise me at all to see what he's doing right now either. Ilya's a different beast, man. He's on track right now to potentially go down as like on track to be a part of one of the greatest. He's already an all-time great. He's already won 2 titles, which is rare. So he's already an all-time great. Mm-hmm. But now knocking out Oliveira, you knocked out Holloway, who's never been knocked out. You knocked out Volk, beat Volk at 45, and he's never lost at 45. Whoever he gets next, I know people will send up the Patty Pimilton thing,
Patty the Batty.
He'll knock out Patty. I know Patty. You know, he's like, oh, I can't get knocked out, brother. You'll get knocked out.
Yeah.
Armin's the fight. You know, I know people said they would like to see him Gaethje. Would that be a fun fight? Yes. He's gonna knock out Gaethje. Come on,
Yeah.
he'll knock out
We've
Gaethje.
seen that.
But Armin to Shurkin. That's a tough fight. You know, because it's going to be somebody that's going to constantly wrestle him the entire time. And Armin is currently the number one ranked guy. You know, he was supposed to go against Islam, but, you know, that fight didn't materialize because he had to pull out the day of because of his back. But I tell people, man, Armin would give Islam some problems. I still think Islam will win, but Armin would definitely get Ilya some problems. Constant wrestling, constant activity, won't stop shooting. It'll be a tough fight for him. So it depends on if the UFC wants to make that. I know how the UFC is. They look more for the fan service type fights. Paddy Pimblton and Ilya builds up more pay-per-view. But the right fight in terms of, like, if you want to go by rankings, which the UFC rarely ever goes by, Armin's ranked number one. He deserves to go for the title first. So, and if you want to go Gaethje, if you want to go even more of a stylistic matchup, you got Gaethje into for you. But I feel like a lot of people know how that's going to end. So,
yeah. Anything else with the UFC that's been going lately?
No, you got currently, nothing much. I know you got all these cards coming up and everything is happening. The guy I fought, Robert Valentin, he's fighting on the New Orleans card against Ate Gautier, but he's fighting against him. Dustin Poirier is having his retirement fight against Max Holloway. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
When is that?
Huh?
When is that?
July 19th. So that's next week. Not this week, but next week. They're in Nashville this week. So.
Wow.
So.
That's cool. All right, a lot of good stuff going on in the UFC. All right, so you said you wanted to kind of talk about it. The Steelers made some trades. Now, I don't know, I think we talked about it briefly in the group chat. I can't remember exactly what your take on them was, but take me through what you, as a Steelers fan, the trades that were made here recently, what do you think about them?
Well, see, at first I thought it was really good until I heard what we gave up. We gave up Minka, and I was a little disappointed into that. Man, Minka is a really, really good person to have back there. Yeah, at times he's lost a step, but Minka was a part of us. Now I am hearing a lot of talks that Jalen Ramsey could move to safety, so that's probably the reason why we were okay giving up Minka. I can see that.
I think he played some safety in college too for Florida.
He did.
Every now and then.
He did. And plus, he also said in multiple interviews that he will go to safety towards, as he get older. Like when he feels like he can't do much more at corner, he'll move to safety. So if that's one of the things, and I tell people, like I feel like the Steelers' defense is plug and play, especially on the Mike Tomlin. He'll make it work. It's not a thing where you're like, oh my gosh, why? Mike Tomlin will find a way to make this work. As long as we don't give up TJ Watt. I saw something about that. I said we better not.
I saw that too. Yeah,
we'll definitely be smoking crack.
Apparently, the contract negotiations haven't been the best.
I mean, you can only stay stagnant for so long. I mean, it's what we do. Aaron Rodgers, great to have him. I know this is his last season, which I think he's gonna play as hard as he possibly can because it is his last season. But Rodgers do give the vibes of, I don't care. He gives the I don't care vibes a lot. So I don't know how that'll go. And if we put all our eggs in one basket for this one season, then I hope we win more than 9 games, at least 10. We got to win over 10 games. I'm sorry. It's just no way. There's no way we can just settle with another 9-win season, barely making the playoffs, first round exit. We can't keep settling for that. Our division is getting better. I know our defense is always going to be good, but we can't stay stagnant. We got to have a better offense. Our offense at times with Russell Wilson was really good last year, but I wish we would have kept Fields, honestly, and just slowly developed him. He could have. Now you keep saying like, okay, a lot of people
would you have paid that money? Look at the money that the Jets paid him.
No, we could pay that down. Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm saying so. The chances of you realistically keeping him, they're not high though.
No, he was too expensive. But I wish we
Okay.
could have kept him. I really wish we could.
Yeah.
Because I don't care for our backup quarterback to be Mason Rudolph. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I really don't
Yeah.
care.
So in the deal, you got Ramsey and you got Johnny Smith for Minka Fitzpatrick and a seventh round pick. I want to say right.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see how that one plays out. I think Ramsey can be okay. Minka has been good in the past. You would probably know more about him than I would in that sense because you watch him so closely. Um, you know how I am. I don't know. To me, I don't know if there's. We'll have to see how the season plays out before we can put a real grade on it.
That's
Upon
right.
it. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's. I feel like it ain't really a big loss for you. I know you might be a little down on it, but it may not be that bad, man. It really may not be that bad.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see because we ain't doing nothing. We sure ain't
Yeah.
doing
Well, anything else you want to talk about here before we end this thing, man?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much out there for tuning into the live stream. If you want to listen to it on podcast, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere podcasts are located. Continue to show support for us by tuning into these, following us on social medias. You can click on the link in the description of the podcast. There's different ways to support us there too. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.